So I don't remember my parents ever together, and came from the broken home, child support battles, custody battles. Then you add step parents into the mix. There's a lot of chaos and confusion. When I was about 8 years old, my mom was moving on to her third marriage, and I decided to move in with my dad. I thought it was a new thing, new frontier, challenging, and I was a very self-determined kid. And I lived there for 3 years, and it ended up being not what I thought it was gonna be. There was some abuse, there was a lot of fighting, a lot of conflict, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. So after a while, I started seeing other families and other kids that were loving, things were going good, and I said, man, what I'm in is not ordinary. Something needs to change here. So I got my mom to file court papers, and eventually, after a couple weeks went by, my dad got the court papers delivered to him. I came home from school, the tension in the room was thick. I knew something was up. And Jeff, my dad was my hero. He had masonry business, big forearms, rough hands. If he shook his hand, you knew he was a hard worker. And he used to carry a wad of $100 bills in his pocket with him. And us Italians, we don't carry wallets. We carry wads of $100 bills with rubber bands around them, Northeast, right? So I always looked up to him for that. And he always showed me money, what money got. And so he confronted me with these court papers and said, hey, you know, it says here you want to move back with your mom. And I don't understand. We have everything we need here. You got trips, we go to dinners, you got everything you need. Your mom doesn't have it. She has men coming in and out of her house. Like, he just painted this picture. And I said, you know what? I've been through this before. I'm not discussing this. I'm going. He said, okay. So he takes the wad of $100 bills out of his pocket that I always looked up to him for. And he peeled one off and crumpled it up, and he said, here, you're gonna need this when you're living on the streets with your mother one day. And I was about 10 years old at that time. And what went through my head, the first thing that went through my head was, what did I do? You get that moment of like, what did I do? But very quickly, his stubbornness kicked in, and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna need that money. I'll show you. And then for, I don't know, 30 some years, I drove off of that fact, and I wrote a book called Rocket Fuel, Convert Setbacks, Become Unstoppable. And I started studying how to get through adversity and come back and take things that come your way that would normally seem like a letdown, discouragement, stored in your tank instead of your trunk. Most of us store things in our trunk and weighs us down. We feel heavy when things are going wrong. Instead of that, if you can figure out a way to put it in your gas tank, your fuel tank, convert it into rocket fuel, you can actually become unstoppable to live in the life of your dreams. And when things happen that were normally bad, you start to feel better about that. Less heavy, lighter. Wow. So it's a performance tech.